Commit long term. Just commit long term. Get around people. Make sure you're around people. You're learning the accent of success to go back where we began. Get around people who are growing. And it's very important that if someone's not growing, if you don't want to get around somebody who will come into agreement with your excuses.
This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hi everybody, it's Neil Ball here. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the vision, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures and successes. I'm so excited to bring you our special guest today, John Lemme. The Entrepreneur Way asks the questions and gets the insight and the inspiration and the ideas to apply in our businesses. So, John, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
Absolutely. And the question I have, I want to make sure people are ready to receive it. You know, we're on a journey and we're on our way. We want to make sure everyone today grab a pen that writes and let's get on our way.
Thanks. Fantastic, John. Now, John Lemme went from a clinically diagnosed stutterer to an international speaker, high-end business consultant and strategic business coach that has changed lives and exploded businesses worldwide through his teachings, live events, his club and his consulting. John, can you provide us with some more insight into your business and personal life to allow us to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Sure, absolutely. And there's the only request that I have, and I know everyone's listening to this obviously virtually through the podcast. I want everyone to grab a piece of paper right now and a pen that writes. And I want you to put the date, whatever date you're listening to. It could be 10 years from now. It could be, it could be 10 years from the time we're recording it, or it could be 2016, 17, 18, whatever date and specific year it is. Write it down, because one thing, Neil, you're going to hear me really teach today is note takers are history makers. Wow. The more notes we take, the more history we make. And I believe entrepreneurs want to make history. Obviously, we know many entrepreneurs through all of the specific different niches and businesses have created some incredible journeys and some incredible success stories. So grab a pen that writes, and I want you to write down my story in the first person, guys. And it has nothing to do with John Lemme. I'm going to share you my story, but all of you have a story also. And I believe the greatest chapter of your future is about to be written. And I've written 23 plus books. And as an author, I can tell you, I remember the last chapter. And I remember writing the beginning of the next chapter. And I believe today you're going to be able to extract some information from Neil's great questions and from the other interviews he's done to begin to write the greatest story and the greatest chapter in your life. So to share more about my story, as you can hear from my accent, I was born and raised in Manchester. No, I was not, Neil, right? And obviously, you can hear Neil was raised in the UK, and I live now in beautiful West Palm Beach, Florida, but I was born and raised in New York. As all of you can hear my accent, I'm from New York. And I want you to write down the first massive success nugget today. Success is an accent. And you sound like who you listen to. And it's so important to listen and learn from champions and entrepreneurs who've achieved what you want to achieve. So I come from a very loving family. As a matter of fact, this upcoming weekend, I have one of my Inner Circle Champion Mastermind Club events, my boot camps, and my mom and dad will be there. My mom will be 85, actually tomorrow, it's time sensitive, we're recording this. So I come from a very loving family. My parents are married 66 years, born and raised in New York. I come from a very large Italian family, a lot of noise, a lot of screaming, a lot of love among all of us. And what they start to notice, and this is very important, guys, people will notice things about you. They noticed at the age of 4, I was not speaking like all my brothers and like my cousins and like our very large family. So what they did is they took me out to Lawrence Hospital, where I was born. I was born 1965, 8:35 a.m., room 404. A very specific time in history, all of you are also born. I know for a fact everyone listening today has a heartbeat and has a birthday. That's all I need to know. You have a heartbeat and a birthday. The greatest years of your life are now ahead of you. It's all a matter of choices. Age 4, I remember for 30 minutes they put these big earmuffs on me, and every time I heard a whistling sound in my ears, I'd have to knock on the table, tap the table, to signify to the doctor that I could hear it. So, and I still remember this as if it was a second ago. The doctor walks out of the quote-unquote, it was, I guess you can say, the investigation room. They were investigating my hearing and my speaking. They thought I was mute. Mm-hmm. Or they thought I couldn't hear, which made me not be able to speak. So long story short, they said, your son can hear fine. He has a speech impediment. I was afraid to speak. I mean, because fear creates results in everyone's life. You have to realize that. Fear, me, was an outward tangible. It was very noticeable by my lack of speaking. You guys will even hear me stammer today a little bit when I talk and do interviews and all the classes I've done. So long story short, age of 4, then my parents, because they love me dearly, put me into speech class. From age 4 to age 18, I went to speech class. I went to reading class. I went to special educational classes. I was a very bright student. I got straight A's in high school. I had a full scholarship to 3 colleges. I graduated number 2 business student in college. Yet at the age of 18, for those of you that may know the state's education system, in New York State, up in New York, there's a specific Regents diploma. And there's different professors and teachers that come in and will test us. And believe it or not, it was Italian class when I took Italian for 4 years, and they came in, and the way that my life was just going down a certain entrepreneurial way, they actually tested me on, I went to an all-board Catholic high school. That's another whole boot camp in itself. They tested me on saying the Our Father in Italian class. I got up there. I said, no matter positive Filio Spiritus Sancto, for those of you that may know, Sign of the Cross is the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. After that, I was done. I just started stammering, freaking out, and then the teacher said, are you with us or against us? And I remember that, and he sat me down, and I got the little check next to my name. Diagnosed stutterer, stammerer, failed oral report, to continue with speech class. Now, I'm 50 years of age right now. I'm 50 years young. I've spoken in over 30 countries. I've produced over 350 CDs, DVDs, written 23 plus books. Obviously, I didn't have a speech impediment. I had a fear impediment. Fear was a blocker. Flip it forward very, very quickly. Age 24, that entrepreneur juice was flowing in me. And my family owns art businesses in New York. We've always done, upper middle class, working really hard. So I was raised in the retail entrepreneur business with my family. And I saw an ad that said make $10,000 a month, wear tailor-made clothes, drive Mercedes-Benz. Now, I was bored in my life. And long story short, that was for a direct selling company. But over and beyond that, I went out to the event and I got introduced to self-development. That night, and I went out the next day, it was March 15th, 1990. I remember the day I showed up my planner at my events now. And I'm really digging into my story because I want you guys to realize there were times in life you can either choose to walk by faith, choose to make a decision, or choose to procrastinate and stay stuck based upon those who are around you. Long story short, I purchased the book Think and Grow Rich, which obviously all of you listening to this most likely have read it, know it. If not, homework assignment number 1, get a hold of it. It was written by Napoleon Hill, who interviewed multi-billionaires, kind of what you're doing right now, Neil, interviewing entrepreneurs and you're finding that common thread for everyone. So I read the book, and I got inspired about achieving miracles. I got inspired about the possibilities in my life, and that started my journey of self-development. 7 years later, I earned over $1 million in direct selling, but beyond that, in 6.5 years, I overcame my speech impediment. And as I speak today, I'm not a perfect orator, as they say. I'm not a perfect speaker. I stammer every once in a while. I have a very distinct, strong New York accent. But obviously, I can communicate and I can teach. And 15 years ago, I realized I saw everybody stuck. All business owners, entrepreneurs stuck. And I said, the missing link is what's going on in your head. So I started to teach success principles. And actually, I'm doing this interview from my office here in South Florida. On my office desk, I have my first cassette tapes. So I've been in this game a long time teaching. So that's kind of my story, where I've come from and how that was a very life-altering time of my life.
That's fantastic, John. Very, very, really. I find that really interesting. So, what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Right now, what I enjoy most is the satisfaction and the enjoyment of my clients. Now, from a business perspective, now I'm a high-end business consultant, strategic business coach. What that means is I consult for realtors, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, people that own courier companies, people that own AC heating companies, individuals in network marketing. So any type of industry I consult for. What satisfies me is when I see someone free of what to do next. You know, one of my top clients, his name is Michael Zapata. He's a physical therapist, and he's been a physical therapist for 16 years. And 2015, his business went up 600%. And he's now famous for saying, this is his testimony he shares about how he got introduced to me and what he's implemented now. Where he said, I don't have a fear of what to do next. I have specific direction. So what gives me excitement is people living a fun life. You know, I have a book titled 31 Attitudes of a Self-Made Millionaire. And an attitude is a mindset. And one of the attitudes is fun. I believe life is meant to be fun, enjoyable. So what makes me, what gives me joy is the satisfaction of the clients that I mentor and people that grab a hold of my material, read it. It gives them that they're inspired, they're moving forward. And then the ripple effect, which is very powerful, what happens after is their clients are having someone to do business with who is fired up, focused, excited. So we have mom and pop businesses, small businesses. I have students that one company is about to go to $1 billion, very successful companies.
Wow.
But what drives me is that their businesses are fed by clients that can be trusted because we're in the economy of trust. You'll hear me teach that. So that gives me joy when one of my clients' business explode and they have satisfied clients and then in their life in that specific niche they're in business with, they never have to be concerned about having a horrible customer service experience or horrible follow-up. So that gives me joy. It's really people being satisfied in life from all angles, from customers and obviously my clients being able to really trust what we teach and then operate at that next level.
Mm-hmm. John, you sort of touched on my next question, but so what is it that drives you? I think you might have partially answered that with what you said before. But
you know, what drives me is I believe everyone's born a champion. You know, my second book I wrote was Champions Are Born, Losers Are Made. I believe all of you are on this earth for a reason. I believe you're all here for a specific reason. No matter what maybe a family member or friend told you and they create this emotional dysfunctionality in life, everything's a thought process. So what drives me is to see people is to see people succeed and see people wake up each day with direction and not deal with fear and not talk about the past. You know, used to be's, maybes, and wannabes do nothing. Mm-hmm. Today's actions predict tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you made me think of something by Jim Rohn there. I think he says the past is a school, not a stick. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, what was exciting was I had the opportunity of sharing the stage 6 times with Mr. Jim Rohn during my speaking career. And I was honored to speak with Mr. Rohn. And I remember when he saw me speak the first time I spoke, and at the end he had his little baseball cap on, and he was in the back row. And I say this humbly for all of you that are getting into the speaking world, and you're a speaker, take this wisdom from Mr. Jim Rohn. This was back in 2003. And it's the first time I spoke with Jim Rohn. And I was sitting there and I was taking notes. He looked over and he said, John, you know, with Jim Rohn's voice, said, John, you stay clean. I didn't know what that meant back then. He said, you stay clean. You keep learning. You'll be one of the most successful speakers because you're a student of what you teach.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the event, he said to me, he said, John, take a look around at the event. Take a look at who took the most notes in this room. I said, well, I believe, Mr. Rohn, you and I have been in the room most of the time. Mm-hmm. He says, yes. He goes, take a look at the other speakers. They're too busy talking about themselves and not listening to wisdom. He says, the day you think you're beyond learning is the day you stall. And I've taken that. That's why anytime I speak at seminars, I'm there. If it's a 2 or 3 day event, mm-hmm. I'm there the entire time taking notes. I'm always learning. So Jim Rohn is, to me, the grandfather of self-development. There's no question.
I totally agree. Amazing guy. Love listening to him. How do you relax when you are not working in your business?
Excellent. for all the entrepreneurs, you should love what you do. And this question is always asked to my wife. As I've done many interviews, and they always ask me, what does your husband do to when his business mind's turned off? And I'm actually fascinated with self-development and fascinated with marketing. So, like, we just spent a week up in New York between Christmas and New Year's. I went to see one of my clients in upstate New York as a realtor. But besides that, went to see my brother. And then we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. In the marketing realm, I teach from 5 companies: the Ritz-Carlton, Amazon, Home Shopping Network, Starbucks, and Disney. Multi-billion-dollar companies that created niches within niches. So what I do is I actually learn. Right now, this isn't working to me. I love speaking. I love teaching. I love sharing. So, all the entrepreneurs, anytime, and I have a chapter in my forthcoming book called The Top 10 Worst Words to Use. And one of the worst words is working. I use the word building. So I believe we're all building. So for me, I love what I do. I love reading. I love learning. I love writing. I'm writing my 24th, 25th, and 26th book right now as you're interviewing me. So I kind of love what I do. I love teaching. So I exercise. I'm 50 years young. I'm in great physical shape. I'm an athlete. So I do a lot of exercising. So I do work out every day. I've done some crazy fitness challenges. I'm known for doing these 45-inch box jumps. I just completed, and I love everyone from the UK because I just completed a 1 million meter row. I'm a big rower. I love rowing.
Yeah, I do that.
So I'm very into fitness and that way. So, but even when I just finished exercising earlier today, I got my iPod on. I was actually listening to a Jim Rohn teaching from 1992 on my iPod today. So. And I believe for all of you listening too, love what you do. I mean, just love what you do. Like I believe Bill Gates, even though he's not with Microsoft, and I believe he still loves programming.
I'm sure he does. He does. So, John, do you have any entrepreneurial role models?
My grandfather.
Okay.
My grandfather came from Italy with nothing. And he went to I think 3rd grade education, and he was born in 1900. And actually, my 24th book I'm writing is called Papa's Wisdom. Unbelievable, amazing man. He came over to the United States in 1900, and then he was in Manhattan during the Depression from the 1920 1930 during the Depression times, and he started to realize he had a talent. He said, "I'll never take money from the government." He goes, "Why should they give me something I can go produce?" Even at that time, and I didn't know what the word entitlement meant back then, but that's a unique word we use these days. And he started to notice that in his early 20s, at 21 years of age, God gave him a gift to be able to paint. So he'd go on the streets of Manhattan and literally take a little canvas, a little canvas, and paint on it. And he would sell the paintings for 5 cents, 8 cents, 10 cents. Then he noticed, hey, people really liked them. Then he went to the lumber yard and took wood and mitered the wood and made a frame around them. Let's flip it forward, Neil, to when I graduated college. We had one store. We had one art gallery. My grandfather, and you talk about timing, guys. My grandfather was born in 1900. He opened his first art gallery in 1965, 65 years young. I was born in 1965. My brother Phil, who runs the art galleries now in New York, has been here since 1967. So I was born and raised in the entrepreneur. I used to walk from grammar school to, we call it the studio, the art studio, and I used to see my grandfather sit in front of blank canvases and tell all of his students. He would say, "This is like your life. It's a blank canvas. You're an artist. Whatever you create is your masterpiece. Don't let someone else's value give you the perception of what something's worth or not." And I was born and raised around extreme integrity. And I teach right now. I have books all about extreme customer service. My grandfather was extreme customer service. He was always paying attention. It's interesting. We talked about being on time. We would always get, Saturday was a big pickup day for custom framing, custom mats, and artwork and restoration work for the art business. My grandfather from day one would say, because people would be off work on Saturday, they'd pick it up on Saturday. And he'd always say, the pickup date is Saturday, but when I started working here, till this day right now, my brother still does it. Even though something's going to be due Saturday, it's ready on Friday. Because he goes, people are thinking about their family picture, their family portrait, their wedding, their certificate, their diploma, whatever, and they're going to call us on the way home from Friday. And we want to say yes to a customer on the phone. Yes, it's done for you Neil, you can come in right now. And it's interesting. So my grandfather, integrity, family-friendly values, focus, caring about people, loving his family. And my grandfather told me two things, and this is very important for all the entrepreneurs. He goes, every night you go to bed, there's two things that will go on with or without you. Is your reputation and what you tell people. And he says, everything you tell people, tell them the truth, even if they don't like it. Like right now, as a strategic business coach and a consultant, sometimes I tell people things like I identify the elephants in the room. They don't want to hear it, but it's the truth.
Yep.
So that's my grandfather. He's absolutely, and my dad, who's 85 years of age right now, is obviously one of my top mentors also. And he's known as Philly D. He comes out to my events and he's a fireball.
Wow. John, are you ready to now throw your mind back to the time before you were an entrepreneur?
Sure.
Okay. What difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
The number one difficulty was, and I look back now, was trying to convince people what I was doing, what I was into. When, I always tell the entrepreneurs now, you're not in the business of convincing, you're in the business of replacing. You're in the business of replacing dissatisfaction with satisfaction. So, my first $1 million I earned, the first company I built to $1 million, in the beginning, just trying to almost force people to get a hold of a product or service that they didn't want. That's the biggest problem. I see a lot of people. And now, as I teach now, I have a book about marketing words, and I talk about the word dissatisfied.
Yeah.
And what you're looking for is dissatisfied people to satisfy them. So I believe all of you, don't force people to try to grab a hold of your product or service, people who are not interested.
Yeah. And did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
The biggest doubt that I had for me personally was I was very into self-development. I was not into making a lot of money. As I said earlier, I come from a loving family. We weren't multimillionaires. We were putting hard days working, quote unquote. We were living in upper middle class. I worked 80 hours. That's one thing too. I see people, 40 hours a week for entrepreneurs. You can just bank that one and forget about that. It becomes a lifestyle. The number one doubt I had in the beginning was my own journey, was my own belief structure. That's why, I read Think and Grow Rich, and then Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field, and The Magic of Thinking Big, and The Psychology of Winning. I had to redevelop what already existed. So all of you, that's why the name of my company is Lemme Development Group is, we're developing what already exists. That's the key. Is that your entrepreneur ability already is there. It's just a matter of developing it. So and some of you guys, and I say it respectfully, you have to lose the ego and realize the more you develop your confidence, your belief structure, your self-esteem, the higher and stronger your business will be. So I think a lot of people, Neil, doubt that they don't understand. And I combine motivation plus marketing. I'm married to two. Motivation really is the internal confidence belief structure for you to be able to, and then market to a client, be confident, follow up, be on time, and so forth. So
okay,
that was my biggest issue, was my internal doubt, which I developed over 6 years and overcame stammer. Now I don't shut up.
Yeah, so. I think you've conquered it. John, did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
I'd have to say no. No? I don't. No,
okay.
Not at all.
Right,
no.
Okay, that's good. And what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey?
In my second company now that I've built to our goal is to go to $1 billion here shortly, is firing people quicker. Right now I have an awesome team. And in my teachings now, but years ago, I felt bad for people. And I think all of you that realize, and this is something I teach all the time, is that the experience of your consumer is only known by your team member. That's why the Ritz-Carlton is known for extreme customer service. And, my cousin Peter, I was actually on the phone with him today. You talk about mentorship. He's my marketing mentor. He's been on a home shopping network for 21 years. He's done hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on air live. And he's never showed up late once, because guess what? You're fired. So I believe now having a zero tolerance for employees would have probably cost me upwards of $10 to $15 million not firing people quick enough.
Yeah. Okay. And what are some of the things that you did before you started your business that will be helpful tips for some of the listeners who haven't yet taken that first step of the entrepreneur's way?
Two things. I would identify right now, because so many businesses are failing, identify why businesses are failing. And I'll tell you the number one reason why they are. It's customer service. We're in the economy of customer service. It's not Amazon's fault. It's not Apple's fault. BlackBerry lost out listening to the consumer. Give the consumer what they want. Don't give them what you think they want. Listen to what they want and give them what they want. And then when you provide what someone wants, all you're doing is just solidifying and giving them a solution for a product that they want. And also have zero ego in listening to your consumer. Look at BlackBerry versus Apple and Samsung. Look at Amazon.com versus Walmart.com. Walmart's now spending $2 billion in the next 2 years to try to catch up to Amazon. And if anyone from Walmart.com is listening to this, it ain't happening. Amazon has created the niche for 10 years. They called Jeff Bezos the Wall Street renegade because he was barely making money because he understood long-term mindset.
Yep. It's amazing what Amazon's done. So now what I'd like to do is move forward and talk about your entrepreneurial journey a little bit, John. So when you've started, working in businesses or having your own business. So in business, is culture important from the beginning, do you think?
1,000%. Culture's everything. That's why I have a very distinct New York accent. You have a very distinct UK accent because you were born and raised in certain cultures. And I believe the number one culture for your business should be customer service, going beyond a call of duty and paying attention to your customer. Culture is the key. Without a culture, you're going to be very diversified. You're going to have no culture. I believe it's very, very important. Yeah,
great answer. And knowing what you know now, is there anything that if you'd known it when you started out would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve?
I would have absolutely studied people outside my industry. This is the issue. And I say this respectfully, totally respectfully. I earned $1 million in direct selling. I made some great real estate investments. I've spoken at close to 75 real estate investment seminars. I've made some great real estate investments. I believe God's making no more land. I believe your investments will always appreciate in land. So when I got into speaking in the year 2001, my website went live 2001. Long story short, I started to speak at these kind of seminars, and I'd see these speakers on stage all fired up and riled up. Then I get to know them going, they're broke. They got no money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm confused. So that's when I flipped the switch and I started to study businesses outside your niche, and all of us. And the reason why I mentioned those 5 companies, Amazon, Home Shopping, the Ritz-Carlton, Disney, and Starbucks.
Yep.
When you guys know those companies, they did not create the niche they're in. All they did was satisfy the niche the consumer was already in. That's huge marketing wisdom. Your consumer's already in a niche. Just satisfy like never before. Then you're going to convert them into being a satisfied customer of yours. Yep. So for me, I spent too many years in the beginning, Neil, studying. I respect Jim Rohn. I respect Jim Rohn from his speaking ability. But now, from a business perspective, I built my business, and our goal is to go to the first $1 billion self-development company. I study and operate my companies based upon multi-billion-dollar companies. And I think that's a big belief mindset entrepreneurs have to shift from. And when you're industry specific, you're too worried about your competition versus be concerned about your consumer. You get concerned about your consumer, so you can hear I get a little passionate about that because I see so many businesses drop. Well, so-and-so is dropping prices. This is another side note, and I'll throw it right back to you for the next question. And I want you guys to take a hold of this. Every single one of my entrepreneurial clients, from construction company owners to painters to contractors to realtors to auto buying consultants to chiropractors, acupuncturists, every one of them, they're all entrepreneurs, independent people earning income. Every one of them raised their prices in 2015. Now, that doesn't make any sense according to their industry. But guess what? When you build a bond, when you build a rock-solid relationship with a consumer, and I teach something called creating value that exceeds price. I believe that's one thing you guys get from this today. Study the consumer and study companies growing. Amazon's growing. Home Shopping's growing. The Ritz, Starbucks is obviously growing. So study those companies. I got a little excited about that.
I don't mind. Carry on. I'm enjoying listening to you. I think it's great stuff. How much does gut feeling influence your decision in your business or decisions in your business?
I believe it's very important. Go with your gut. Mm-hmm. I talk about that as one of the attitudes of a self-made millionaire in my book is gut feeling. Yeah. And when you got the feeling, go for it. Mm. Everyone, irregardless of what one's faith is, everyone says we got butterflies in our stomach. God has given us a butterfly spirit. Okay? No one says, I got a cockroach in my stomach. No, I got a butterfly in my stomach. meaning that I'm getting fired up and getting excited about something. And a butterfly, and remember, the beauty of a butterfly, and I talk about the butterfly in another one of my books, when a butterfly goes through this process, I talk about the purpose of problems, the whole chapter on it, that just when a caterpillar says, oh, how could it get any worse, it becomes a butterfly. So some of you may be at that in your life going, you know what? I'm at a certain phase in my life. How could it get any worse? Guess what? You're ready to break out of that cocoon. And that's when a butterfly just soars like an eagle. So it's so important. So important. That's a gut feeling. That's what's in your gut, butterflies. Mm.
Life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not. And the only constant is change. I think it is. And it's certainly one of the only constants. John, how do you try to keep up with change?
Inside the word challenge is change. Mm-hmm. And I believe every day we want to challenge ourselves to be better. And I have, goals, goal setting long term will always assist you changing. And I always say physically, success is a puzzle, and there's 3 parts of success: physical, emotional, and financial. Mm-hmm. I believe all of you should be in great physical shape, great emotional shape, and great financial shape. And I believe change, when you do something different, fire someone, hire someone, increase your marketing, get your schedule down, get organized, get focused, that's changing, changing for the better, changing for your goals, changing for your family, changing for your society, change your business based upon your consumer. Mm-hmm. So change is, to me, it's exciting because if you're not changing, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dead. And your business is 2 ways. It's either growing or slowing. If it's slowing, drop the ego, figure it out, get some consulting, get some mentorship, get around some people who are growing. You get around people who are growing, the slowing's over. But growing takes some challenges, and inside challenges change.
Change is opportunity as well, isn't it? Because
absolutely. 1,000%.
Especially now, because everything's changing quicker, I think, with technology moving quicker and quicker. So there's always new change, and so there's many new opportunities out there.
That's right.
What is your favorite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership, or motivation? And can you tell us why you have chosen it?
Well, my favorite book is Uncommon Friends by James Newton. Mm-hmm. Uncommon Friends is the book written with the story of Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, Alex Carrel, and Charles Lindbergh. Mm-hmm. It's an absolutely incredible book written by James Newton, who used to work for Edison. Mm-hmm. So it's a great book about, obviously, the multi-billion-dollar industries created. And actually just spun about on my desk with one of my top 10 books. It's right here, and it's just wisdom doesn't change. It's sure back then there was no technology. Edison created the light bulb, but still the mind capacity and masterminding, being around people. Going back to what I said a few minutes ago, being around people who are growing. You want to make sure you're around people growing. If not, nothing changes at all.
Everyone, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in the time that you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you are at a gym. We have a special offer for you, the free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you've not already signed up, then you will qualify. John, what I'd like to do now is fast forward to the future a little bit. So doing this a bit gradually and then zooming out a bit further. So what one thing would you do with your business if you knew you could not fail?
I would start immediately and on TV live success channel, meaning teaching people business success starts with self-development combined with marketing principles And that's actually in the works, by the way. Channelforsuccess.com is in the works. Because I want to get to the math. I don't like to see people full of fear. I don't like to see people depressed, confused, and because the dysfunctionality affects some relationships. So for me, it's massive, the entire world to know about real self-development combined with real marketing. That's the journey. That's where we talk about the entrepreneur way. Yeah. That's what's on our work. I just rolled out the Lemme Economic Report. I mean, we're literally starting a news station reporting the economy, what is really going on.
Yeah, that's a noble cause. That's excellent. So what skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you most to double your business?
Organization and focusing your time. Stop wasting time and throw stuff out. That's a big skill. Just get rid of. I call it the just in case file, Neil. I'm going to save this just in case. Well, just in case is living in your past.
Yeah.
Get organized. Get focused. Maximize it. Once again, I'll say it again. I appreciate you. With 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 emails reminding me about our class today. I think it's great.
Good.
And that's one thing in my closing book. One of my books I wrote many years ago. It's been with 80,000 copies have been sold. One of the strategies is always be early. To me, 15 minutes is early because you're prepared. If you come in an event and you're 2-3 minutes late, you're not 2-3 minutes late. You got to get set up. Your mind's get organized, guys. Get that stuff. And remember, an app cannot organize you. I'm old school. I had written my paper planner today, Tuesday, 5 p.m. entrepreneur interview. I'm an old school guy. I got a paper planner.
Yep. Sometimes the always are still good as well, aren't they? So
that's right. Okay. I agree.
John, in 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and your suppliers, what would you like it to say?
John Lemme has created 100 six-figure givers, which means I've created $100 million businesses. I teach giving goals. I believe our heart of our finances controls the heart of our consumer relationship. That I teach, like this year, we have set giving goals. I have students that have a goal of giving $80,000 away this year based upon a 10% giving goal. As you know, Jim Rohn always talked about that, Richest Man in Babylon. So at that mindset, that if that means they would have generated $800,000 of business to give $80,000, my goal is 100 $100,000 a year givers, which is 100 $1 million businesses, which means there's tens of thousands of satisfied clients.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's the goal, and that's something that's very well known. I say it all the time, and we're actually ahead of schedule on that. We are on track, guys. You have to have big, audacious goals. One of the attitudes in my book, 31 Attitudes of Self-Made Millionaire, is crazy. If people are not calling you crazy at least once a day in your entrepreneurial way, you're not thinking big enough.
Oh, absolutely. I totally buy into that. If you tell people your dreams and they don't laugh, they're not big enough.
That's right.
John, what I'd like to do now is move on to the next section, which is where you give us 3 golden nuggets. So the first one of those is, what is your favorite quote and how have you applied it?
Well, my favorite quote is actually by Art Williams. And Art Williams is a multi-billionaire, started a company called Proud America, bought up by Citibank. Mm-hmm. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard. Yep. Mile by mile, it's a trial. Mm. I believe we take, and right now I teach all about forward moving. I believe moving forward one step at a time is the key. I believe people try to do too much at once. And then my own quote, I've written a whole quote book, is faith doesn't make sense. That's why it makes miracles. Mm. It doesn't make sense why you're going to start that business. It doesn't make sense why you're going to disengage a relationship with that person. It doesn't make sense why you're going to throw a bunch of all this junk out. But faith doesn't make sense. That's why it makes miracles. So it may not make sense to begin this journey, but that's where your miracle lies.
Mm, great advice. And do you have any favorite online resources that you can share which would be useful to our listeners?
Interesting question. No.
What about Google? That's a good one.
Well, I'm saying, from that perspective, I mean, I do a whole teaching about Google versus Yahoo.
Yeah.
But I believe all of you should study Home Shopping Network. Should study Amazon.com, obviously. Should study the Ritz-Carlton, should study Starbucks and Disney. Those are companies that and I guess that's a way to answer that question is, I buy 99% of what I purchase is on Amazon. I mean, I'm an Amazon fanatic, and I've stayed at 21 different Ritz-Carltons around the world. I mean, I study 5-star extreme customer service. We do mastermind events that are live. So that's, those are, because I think it's a marriage of online and offline resources in that arena.
Yeah. And what is your best advice to other entrepreneurs?
Commit long term. Just commit long term. Get around people. Make sure you're around people. You're learning the accent of success, to go back where we began. Get around people who are growing. And it's very important that if someone's not growing, if you don't want to get around somebody who will come into agreement with your excuses. Remember, an excuse is defined as to release from an obligation. That's the root of the word excuse. So get around people who are change makers, who are making a difference. Don't get around excuse makers. And that's why I talk about the real coach comes out of me. Get in that field. Let's go. Let's not sit in the sidelines. Let's go and get around people who are going. That's why I attend live events. Get out of your comfort zone. Take tons of notes today. Listen to the interviews that Neil's put together for you guys. It's awesome. Just commit long term. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, if you didn't manage to get a note of John's favourite resources or his favourite book, then you can find links on John's show note page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for John or John Lemme in the search box. John, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
Oh, so is that you asked me the question before earlier about the resources to find my material?
Yeah.
Oh, I was so fired up on an interview. I'm thinking about what I can give. So I'm thinking about other stuff. Oh, that's awesome. That's a live blooper, which is great.
Okay.
So so for you guys that want to get some of my bonuses and books and giveaways, all that stuff I have, and you want to see a little marketing here, for those of you that do interviews and you give a website out, make sure your website is explainable and understandable by people. So I actually have a website. It's pretty awesome. For those of you that want to find more out about me, you can go to FindJohnd, FindJohnD.com. FindJohnD.com. It goes out to my main website, and you'll see I give away a boatload of motivational marketing, instant MP3 downloads. I give away about 7 of my books online. So find FindJohnd.com. FindJohnD.com. I apologize for that blooper and that question.
Wow, that's awesome. John, it's been an absolute honour having you on the show today. You really have. You've blown me away, certainly, with the things you've said. You've given me some really insightful things and some great things to think about. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much for what you're doing, Neil. And I want everyone listening to this really appreciate what Neil is doing and let him know that. I mean, it takes, say the word work, it takes out of his schedule, working, editing, auditing, connecting with all of us. I'm excited you're bringing great questions. I've been interviewed over 100 plus times. Great questions, a great thread you're developing with all the entrepreneurs. So it's excellent. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.